Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And let me just follow up with an observation. The consolidation that we've seen in agriculture has happened all across the country. In my state of Pennsylvania, which has been dominated by small family-owned farms, it's much more difficult to make ends meet. We have a lot of dairy farms, and most years they lose money. Um, the the truth of this whole situation that we've got to weigh and think about is the reason this has happened is because more efficient farming systems and approaches and companies deliver lower cost food for consumers. And that is going to mean that the folks who have a hard time competing with that, those communities are going to be hurt. But how much more do we want to force low income people to have to pay for their food so that we can preserve a status quo that we remember from decades ago? I think we've got to be honest about the whole picture here. Ms. Mitchell, you made, I thought, a very salient point about the lack of community banks, the consolidation in banking. And it's not just consolidation, it's a almost complete absence of new community banks. Up through 2007, it used to be very typical for the FDIC to approve over 100 new charters for community banks, which exclusively serve their community. They are aptly named. In 2007 itself, there were 190 applications were approved. But from 2009 through 2019, the average annual number of new community banks approved in this country was 5.5, single digits. Why is that? I will tell you, a big part of the reason is because we have a Fed that has engineered zero interest rates, and at the same time, we've dramatically increased the regulatory requirements. The zero interest rates makes it very hard for a bank to have any net income margin, and the added expense of compliance with regulation has simply meant nobody can figure out how to launch a community bank that can survive. Not nobody, but almost nobody. And I think that is a real problem. I want to get to a couple of, go back to energy, because I know that Senator from Montana thinks this is a diversion, I guess, but the fact is rural communities that are able to evolve and find new industries, that's a part of the success of those areas. And that's totally been the story in energy. And I'm wondering if Ms. Skama, in Pennsylvania, not only has it been hundreds of thousands of jobs, but there's also been tremendous savings for consumers. Gas prices in Pennsylvania dropped 65% when our rural communities started producing gas. And I guess my question for you is, if the Biden administration continues this policy of banning new leases and maybe goes even further, what's the impact going to be on rural communities for the cost of the energy that they need?
Well, that's absolutely correct. We've saved consumers hundreds of billions of dollars over the last decade in lower energy prices, both natural gas and oil. I do feel a little bit attacked by Senator Tester. I mean, I'm not here to represent agriculture. I think if the committee wanted more agriculture representatives, they could have. But the point is that why kill other jobs just because I'm not here representing agriculture, but certainly the administration should not be attacking energy jobs as a way to solve agriculture jobs. They're both can be mutually supportive.
Thanks. Senator Affey, one of the things I was wondering if you could share with us is what will the impact be on Wyoming schools, and including rural schools? That's most of Wyoming, as you point out, is rural. These schools, my understanding is they depend significantly on royalties from oil and gas. And if this administration's ban on new leases remains in effect, is that going to have a significant adverse impact on the rural schools of Wyoming?
Thank you, Senator Toomey. The answer is yes. Wyoming is very blessed in that we have abundance of natural resources, including robust minerals. And we've relied on that mineral industry to provide for significant revenues in our state's budget. And so it isn't just about severance taxes and ad valorem. It really is a trickle down of other industries, that supports local welders and other related businesses. So when we see attacks on our energy economy, it really does hurt rural America, because as we see students move out, then declining enrollment. But as we look at declines in the production and the cost of things like the price of oil, we are looking at a $300 million annual structural deficit out of a $1.5 billion statewide K through 12 education budget. We are working through those issues, and we're happy to do that, knowing that our economy is very reliant on a volatile industry that depends on commodity prices. However, when our government leaders start attacking our economy directly, that's where we have significant concerns. And I would echo Ms. Scama's sentiment that, I'm happy to talk about some effects that we have in our agricultural industry in Wyoming. It is important for us to support our ag producers. We have large cattle ranching opportunities. Our state legislature often has tried to take aggressive stance to provide more opportunities for our ag producers in kind of breaking up some of that consolidation that was mentioned. However, when we look at our forecast for the future, it really depends on our energy economy for how we're going to fund all of our essential services.
Thanks very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.